It's prime time. What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with a video today. We're trying to get back to doing some of these team previews. I've kind of wrote off the idea of getting every Power Five team, Power Four, whatever we're at right now. Um, I want to try. I want to definitely try, but with work, with school, with everything I got going, it's probably not going to happen this year. Now, we could keep going and get as many as we can, but I definitely want to start looking at some of the big name teams for 2025. One of those big name teams, Colorado. That's interesting. Also, I want to point this out. Taking suggestions, I got three mini helmets for college football, starting a collection, or I've been starting a collection. I got Alabama, Ohio State, and Michigan. If you guys have any suggestions for what team I should get next, drop it in the comments and I'll look into it. So, anyway, just wanted to point that out. I'm not asking anyone to send me anything or buy me anything. I'm going to do that. But I am taking suggestions. I do want to keep collecting mini helmets. And I will take suggestions as to what team I should look into next. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into Colorado. I'll go ahead and throw the 2025 schedule up. I want to try to cut these ones down a little bit. Hold on. Let's do this layout. I want to cut these down to less than 15 minutes if we can. I don't like doing these for 20 minutes at a time because then it just gets kind of long to talk about a team, as fun as it can be. But I figured we just kind of roll with some of these team previews, knock them out of the park, and just go right into the schedule. So when you look at 2024 for Colorado, 9-4 overall, and they had an interesting year. I thought they did pretty good. 9-4 overall with a bowl loss. They went 9-3 in the regular season, but they still failed to reach the Big 12 championship game. They had won four out of their first five games. They did lose at Nebraska 28-10, which I think Nebraska's getting better. I think they're looking like a really good team. But I feel like with the talent that Colorado had last year, which they're losing, by the way, with Shiloh, Shador, Travis Hunter, I think they're also losing Jimmy Horn at wide receiver. So they're losing all this talent. It was so good last year. It was so good. I don't think they should have lost that Nebraska game. Now Nebraska's getting good with Matt Rule. I'm not going to take anything away there. But I feel like that was a game where you just knew Colorado was a better team. Now it was a night game. I could get it if you lost it by like a point or a field goal or a touchdown. They lost it 28-10. That's really not that good. But you answer it in your rivalry game with Colorado State at Colorado State, that is in a night game on September 14th, you won 28-9. Then you had a really good game with Baylor, 38-31, pretty good classic there in overtime. Beat Gus Malzahn and UCF 48-21. I could go down the list, but they lost to teams like Kansas State, at Kansas. I don't even know, what did Kansas go last year? 5-7. That's really not a team you want to lose to. Um, that's a basketball school. And then they met up with BYU in the Alamo Bowl on December 28th, and they lost that 36-14. So go ahead and get into this year's schedule. They got the spring game scheduled for the 19th of April, but you open with the Friday night game, and this actually could be pretty good here. Is this not? Let me zoom in for you guys real quick. Um, we'll full screen this. Okay, so the spring game, April 19th. Is Georgia Tech not the team that won in 1990 in the national championship over Colorado? I'm pretty, or either way, was it not those two teams for the Natty? I don't know. I don't even know if they've met since then. But you do have Georgia Tech to open up the season. And when you look at this game in particular, this is a home and home. They will go. Colorado will go to Bobby Dodd in Atlanta next year on September 5th for 2026. So this is a home and home. They host them this year on a Friday night. Then they get Delaware. Should be no problem. Houston, not a big believer in Houston right now. Should be no problem. Wyoming could be a dangerous team sometimes, but I feel like having them at home on a Saturday, it should be no problem for Colorado, but we'll see. I think Wyoming can be pretty tricky with some opponents sometimes. I think it really starts when you get into Big 12 play outside of this Houston game. I think BYU's always put together really good teams, especially on the offensive line. They always have good quarterback play. Got to pick up the defense a little bit this year if you're Colorado when you play a game like that, especially after losing Travis Hunter and company. Shiloh Sanders is gone too. So they'll have some key pieces to replace. You'll have to beef it up a little bit to take care of teams like BYU. At TCU, TCU's not what they were that year. They went to the title game. But I think Sonny Dykes is doing a pretty good job. And I think that it's a team that kind of fell off after that title run, but has gotten back to it a little bit. Iowa State, again, some of these teams we haven't really looked at, but if you had to go based off last year and you had to go based off really recency, Iowa State's kind of been a roller coaster. You get the bye week, but Iowa State, you just don't know. I hope they're good because we have a buddy named Jeff Webster who was a big Iowa State Hawk Cyclone, not Hawkeye. That's Iowa. Forgive me, Cyclone. He was a big Iowa State guy and Alabama guy. So for his sake, I kind of hope Iowa State wins as many games as possible, including Colorado. But we'll see. At Utah, Arizona, at West Virginia, going to Blue Dude. Bye week. Everyone gets two bye weeks again. Arizona State, who did make the college football playoff last year, could be dangerous late in the year, and at Kansas State. So I feel like the assessment for this schedule, in my opinion, I feel like it's going to get tougher as nothing against Georgia Tech or nothing. We got plenty of Georgia Tech fans in this community. That's going to be a tough challenge. But then, come on, that 3 game stretch with Delaware, Houston, and Wyoming, nothing. You that's nothing. They should handle that. They should be 3-1 in their first 4 games, 4-0 if they beat Georgia Tech. Then you get TCU. I'm not a big believer in Sonny Dykes anymore. I'm just not. Iowa State, we'll see. Off week, Utah, Arizona. They, I think even though Colorado lost Shiloh and Shador Sanders, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn, I still believe that Dion is an excellent head coach. Not elite, but excellent. And I do think there is a difference. You know, um, he's not in the category of Kirby Smart, obviously. He's not what Nick Saban was. I don't know where I would put him, but I do think that um, that he's doing a great job, and I think that he's signed some good guys the past couple of years. 2025 was okay. I do like the quarterback they got at Julian Lewis, who is a 4-star from Carrollton, Georgia. By the way, Colorado ranked 27th in recruiting. They got they didn't get any 5 stars, but they got quite a few different 4-star athletes. London Merritt is an edge. Carday Smith, offensive tackle, 4-star. Chauncey Gooden, interior offensive lineman, 4-star. Adrian Wilson, wide receiver. Quanell Farrakhan, I don't even know if I said that right. He's a wide receiver. Christian Hudson, defensive lineman. Quentin Gibson, wide receiver. I could go down the list. They got a lot of different 3 stars more than anything. And they're hitting good states. Like they got guys out of Bradenton, Florida, Miami, Florida, Johnson City, Tennessee. They got someone from is that Michigan, West Bloomfield, Michigan. So they're going all over the map to kind of get guys for their recruiting for 2025. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like ultimately going forward for Colorado in recruiting. I mean, we could only assume that if they have a good year this year, 2026 is going to build, right? I think that's safe to say. And even if they have a down year, because I do think they're in the rebuild category, losing what they lost. But Deion Sanders is just that coach. He's just that football guru. He's that player. He's that guy. He's that dad. He's that whatever you want to say. He is that. He's him, right? Is that what the kids are saying these days? He's him. Well, I think he's got Colorado in the right position. The question is losing what you lost to the draft this year, can you replace it and be consistent with it to go out and win these big time games? I think that they ultimately can win some big time games. I'm giving the Atmos record predictions for you in these videos. My gut says they could go 9-3 at most. And if they were to go worse than that, they lose games like Arizona or Utah, but some of those games are at home. They could go with a floor of maybe 6-6 or 7-5, but their ceiling's probably going to be 9-3, and they'll probably be somewhat in the hunt for a Big 12 title in my opinion. The three losses I would say are the bigger teams, and like I'm big on Iowa State this next year. I'm also big on Georgia Tech, and Kansas State's always in the mix. So I figured it'd be those three teams ultimately when you look at it. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong on this. And some of y'all are probably already typing, well, they got Arizona State. Arizona State made the playoffs. Well, they only got a first round bye because they won the Big 12. And how did that fare for them in round two of the playoffs? So uh, I don't know. It's, I think a lot of these teams like Colorado that are not so obvious as to what they're going to look like circle April 19th for their black and gold spring game, which has not been announced as if it's going to be televised yet or not. But watch some spring game highlights of teams like Colorado, and then maybe we can revisit this and come back to it in a live stream or something. Ultimately, after we have some more information on really not who's on the team, but just what's on the team. Like, what does it look like? Are they going to be defensive led? Are they going to be more of an offense? Are they going to utilize their quarterbacks? I mean, what are they going to do? What does Dion want to do? You know, he's been coaching 2 years at Colorado, and he had a rough first year, but then he gets in the Big 12 and then he just balls out. Has at least two or three top 10 draft picks coming up here in 2025. So I think they're in a good position to kind of prove the doubters wrong. Lank, let all naysayers know. They're in that position. They just need to do it. So I'm going to say 9-3. Georgia Tech, Iowa State, and Kansas State. That's at most. They could fall and hit their head on the floor if they go 5-7 or 6-6 or something like that. I'm just giving you an at most record prediction here for 2025. So, got to hear from you guys. I love y'all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for always sticking around. Jesus loves you. I love you guys. Keep your head up. Let me know what team I should do next here at Ballard Sports Media as far as team previews go. And we'll keep it rolling. We'll keep going. So, y'all have a good Saturday. Love you guys. God bless. Enjoy some college basketball too. It's tournament time, baby. Woo!